mean, I'm here as flavor.
Yeah.
I feel comfort already. Oops.
Yeah,
I mean, oops.
yeah.
I made a boo-boo.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Relationship-wise.
Yes, some background context.
Relationship-wise, okay, I'm going to get a BTO next year. So,
Okay.
yeah, my house will be ready. So
Recently.
You are married, right?
I'm engaged.
Recently
I'm
engaged.
engaged. Yeah.
Okay,
So
recently
so next year I'll be married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
By
like how she started.
contract.
I'm going to get a BTO.
Yeah,
I was like,
isn't
Yeah.
that how it goes in Singapore? You
I
get
know
to-
it feels like weird to be like, oh my god, I'm engaged. Like, no, don't ring. I forgot to ring. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And relationship status is single. Yeah, so yes.
So why don't you tell us more about yourself? Like, how did you get into relationship counselling?
How do you get into a relationship?
Yeah.
It's actually a very long journey.
Oh, wow.
So I started doing parenting workshops about 10 years ago.
I think you need to be closer.
Huh?
Like,
Who?
I get like.
So I started doing parenting workshops like maybe 10 years ago. That's how it started. And then people used to come up to me and says, do you do counselling? Do you know? And I says, no, but it's something for me to think about. And that started it all.
Oh, okay.
So I started doing some programs, and eventually I got involved with family therapy, which is what I predominantly do. And then so I've been working with relationship matters for a while, and doing a lot of couple work and as well as family work. Yeah. So your families and couples will come to me.
Ah, okay.
Individuals as well. So yeah.
Right. So you just
The whole span of
the whole
different
the whole thing, the
yeah,
whole package.
the whole thing.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. So how many couples have you counseled? Do you keep count?
I've actually lost count.
So at what number do you lose count?
If you ask me about them, I remember the stories and their lives and all
okay.
that. But if you ask me how many it's
Cannot.
more than my fingers have.
Yes.
More than the number of
Yeah.
fingers I have. But yes, I counseled quite a few couples and individuals and families and yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Your voice is more important than ours.
Sure.
It's true though. It's
Yeah,
true.
it's
Yeah.
more valuable.
Yeah.
More valuable advice. will come
I
from
think we
you
all
than
need to
us.
be heard, right? So
Yeah, lah, but
I feel comfort already. We all do need to be heard. But yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
so that's how you went into like couples counselling. Do you only do relationship counselling, or is it like family counselling, or?
all of them. So relationships, predominantly because we're relationship matters and we're known as a couples therapy. Yeah, so a lot of couples come to us for therapy with their different marital issues that they have. So that we predominantly deal. I work with a lot of couples,
Right.
individuals and families as well.
Right.
So families come to with specific things, tasks they would like to deal with. So and that's where I work with them. So I usually work with a lot of couples and individuals, and as well as families. Yes.
Predominantly married couples?
I have like you, couples
Recently engaged?
recently engaged or
Yes.
engaged and have a BTO, and they want to they want to work out some issues that they have as they realize that they have before they're getting married.
Yes.
So yes, I have all walks of life and all kinds of couples that I work
Nice,
with.
nice.
Yes.
Pris, this is your chance to ask whatever you want before getting your BTO.
Okay, but I think at the moment we don't really have that many like financial quarrels. Like our views on money are pretty much aligned. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know, maybe it's because we haven't encountered those issues yet, so we didn't really think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so but I don't know whether like is it worth thinking about it right now when we haven't encountered those issues. Yeah.
I think it's great if you work out as many issues as you can before you get married. So the more issues you talk about, for example, like how do you value things? And what I mean by that is, what value do you place on particular things that you have in life? Like things like big ticket, I mean like houses, you know, like you're gonna buy a house together.
Yeah.
And then comes the renovation part of it, right? So there'll be differences in how you want to renovate the house, what you value.
Yeah.
What's your aesthetic and do you guys vibe?
Yeah.
As the millennials say. No, actually it's Gen Z, right?
Is it,
Yeah, same lah.
Yeah.
or so when you go to
Yeah.
when you go to a store and they say, what's your concept that you like or something like
Yeah.
that.
Actually, we did talk about like our renovation, like how much we're gonna spend on it, and like I'm pretty okay with anything because he earns more than me, so more likely he'll pay more of the renovation, and like I'm pretty fine with a simple house,
Okay.
as long as like certain things that I want, like an oven is there, like something
That's like-
functional, you know, something
the basic one.
No, I don't have an oven in my house right
I
now.
mean, same.
Yeah, it's not basic.
Yeah, but
it's quite a luxury.
So
Yeah.
even things like that, like what you consider is luxury or not luxury.
Yeah, I would say that
Okay,
an
okay.
oven is a luxury. So
I
So to him, he
Yeah.
might say, "Oh no, what's wrong with having an oven? Or why do we need to have an oven?" So I have no idea.
For the
But
it's a
it's-
luxury that I want.
Okay, so
For the
so things-
bakes,
yeah.
Yeah. So we did talk about like our habits, like what are we more likely to do? Are we people who cook more or people who like tapao more, take away more, you know? So yeah, all these conversations will come up eventually. I think if they don't, it's probably like maybe someone is bottling it up or something. I don't know. Yeah. Do you see a lot of couples, like premarital couples, who like break up over like such arguments before?
Over whether they get an oven.
No. maybe.
Well, ovens,
Or like, you know,
contentious topic.
or maybe like after they BTO, then suddenly it brings up more issues that they never thought about before. Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's after they get married, and there are certain issues that they not talked about before.
Right.
So, for example, like not having how many children you want to have, or even having children.
But I feel like you should talk about it before,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It gives me
Yeah.
anxiety, right?
So there these are some of the very basic issues that, like I said, how do you value, and how many, like what kind of value do you place on children, and how many children you like to have or not have,
Yeah.
and as well as things like how do we value things like simple things like housework. Who's gonna do the housework?
Oh.
I mean, that's the number one quarrel that a lot of couples have.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I know Singaporeans like to have helpers, and they do that all of them. But we don't. The lack of a helper sometimes. Who does what, and who's gonna do it, and who shares the responsibility? Is he gonna do it together? Or is it like, is he gonna say, "Oh, you're gonna do everything"? Which I'm just saying, I'm just saying that. What are your attitudes towards things like housework, and how we're gonna share the responsibilities at home? These are kind of things, that simple things like even like you talk about financial and money, like do we have our own personal accounts? Do we have a joint account?
Yeah.
How do we decide how to spend? Do I have my own spending money to spend? What can I spend on? Is it okay after we get married, how do we decide on what to buy or what not to buy together? So these are some of the simple things that it might not seem like complicated to you right now, but sometimes when you have a couple that that is new to all this, these are some of the questions that they might be dealing with. Another thing could be like debt that you bring into the relationship.
Yes.
So hopefully that both couples are honest with each other about what debt they have to they bring into the relationship, and how they would like to deal with it together. I think these are some of the very important things that couples have to deal with, and you need to deal with. And the more open you are about communicating this with each other and saying how you like to deal with them and work it out with each other, and how you like to deal with it, the easier it is for you as a couple to figure out, like how you, like when you do get married, it makes it easier for you. So the more things you talk about now, the easier. So you don't come and stop. Oops, I didn't know this how you value things. Like,
Oops.
yeah, it's like,
I made a oops.
yeah,
I made a boo boo.
yeah. So things like, I mean, sometimes I I've even seen couples that argue over the kitchen sink, like how it's supposed to be kept and maintained.
Oh my god.
So I think all these small things, but I think it's something that just sometimes need to be discussed. Like your attitudes to a lot of things that needs to be worked out and kind of understood, because unless you've been living together for a while and you kind of get that, but if not, then everything becomes new for both of you.
Yeah.
It's like living with a new person. That, I mean, although you're dating and you have,
Yeah.
But it's different lah.
It's
very
different because
yeah.
You see each other once a week to suddenly every day you same house.
Yeah, correct lor. You see them like literally at their shittiest and their best lah, I guess.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our main topic actually for the day. Like, do toxic relationships bring out toxic financial habits?
Yeah. Yes. It's something that we're just wondering.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, I'm just wondering, like, what is the definition of a toxic relationship?
Yeah. What
toxic
is toxic?
relationship.
Yes.
Well, I guess what makes you feel uncomfortable and what's not healthy. And so, I'm not saying couples don't argue or don't have quarrels. I mean, every couple would have it.
Yeah.
But how do they resolve it together after that? After the fact that they've argued, they had this argument and quarrel with each other, and good part of that plays in terms of what you're used to as you were growing up as a child. So if your parents kind of dealt with issues as they came along, you might take that into your marriage. Sometimes if some couples, if you belong to a family that doesn't want to deal with their problems, so I quarrel with you, then after that I keep quiet, then we make peace and then not deal with the issue, and then hopes it gets resolved after that.
Yeah.
And you take that into the relationship, so that becomes part of the issue of not dealing with things. So I think the idea is learning how to deal with things and coping well with your relationship is what makes it healthy. The inability to deal with stress, the inability to deal with the different things that come about in a relationship, that's what makes it toxic. Or how the unhealthy behaviors that the individual has in dealing with stress, in dealing with anger, in dealing with issues that make it challenging for the couple to work with each other or to be with each other,
Right.
to communicate with each other. So that's, I think, the foundation of is really about building a good intimacy, not just physical intimacy, which lots of couples are good at, but also the emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
The emotional intimacy of what's going on in your life and how you feel about, not just on a day-to-day basis, but how you feel about the weather.
Yeah.
but how you feel when you said something to me.
Yeah.
How you feel about when you did something kind for me, or something that was unkind to me. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And then what triggers within yourself that cause those feelings, So when, very often there's a sense of blame, like you make me feel angry, or you did this to me, or you did that to me.
Yeah.
When really it's really our own emotions that it's triggered when something happens to you. So if you can own that emotion and you say, this is what I feel and why is it I feel this way, then you can have a better conversation with your partner.
Right.
So that's part of the ability to deal with and work through difficulties and challenges that a couple face. I think that's what makes it toxic or non-toxic. So the inability to deal with something. So we kind of get into these modes where we keep repeating the same behavior. Like, say, I'm not happy with you, so the way in which I treat you is to ignore you or to avoid you, and then you wonder what, then you wonder why the other person's gonna keep doing that to you again and again.
Yeah.
And then you have this. It doesn't help the relationship, right? So sometimes in an intimate couple that you in a couple that you want the intimacy, you do the very opposite that you want. I want the intimacy. I want to get to know you better. I want to I want to be happy with you. But sometimes the things that come out of our mouth, or the behaviors that come out that we do to each other, might be the very opposite of what we really want. So I want to spend time with you but you're busy, so I get angry with you and I slam the door and I walk out the room, or I ignore you for a while, and that's the opposite of what you really wanted, right?
Yeah,
so what I really want to spend time with you, but because I feel like you're not available for me, I get very angry, and we do things like that. So what we really want is to create, that ability to kind of work through this, what you actually feel and how you like to be treated and how you like to be cared for, and tending to each other, how you tend to each other,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So,
And I think anger shouldn't be taken as anger is bad. I think that's what I've learned.
yeah.
I think anger points you towards a need maybe that's not being met, so you have to kind of like pay attention to it.
Yeah. So what's
Yeah.
making you angry?
Yeah. What is the root of that anger or sadness? Maybe it's just sadness. Then you're like,
Yeah.
so angry at you. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's this emotional wheel. I don't know whether you've seen it before. You can
Never seen
Google
it.
Oh, I've seen
It's
it.
called a
You've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's like to help you identify what exactly you're feeling, because
Yeah.
sometimes like something feels bad, but you automatically assume that it's anger or sadness, but it could be like confusion or anxiety,
Oh.
right?
Yep.
I'm
Yay.
smart.
You
smart.
You read books?
I read all these books. They thick. They're thick.
Wait, I'm googling the emotional wheel.
Go ahead.
Oh my
It's-
god.
Because a lot of the times
Ah.
I feel like I don't know how I feel.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a general bad feeling,
Oh.
but I don't know what is that bad feeling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is new to me.
So how are you feeling right now on the
Feeling
emotional
fine. I'm not
wheel?
angry at all. I mean, I think I'm
Hold
at,
on.
Convincing,
sorry,
so convincing.
what the hell? I think I'm.
what did I say now?
I'm at serenity. There's
Serenity.
a part of the wheel that just says serenity. So I think I'm
Spa, is it?
Yeah,
You think
I'm
spa,
feeling
is it?
feeling very at ease right now. Very calm. Very well taken care of.
Joy, trust, and love.
There we
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then that's very interesting.
So being able to identify those feelings and communicate that with each other.
Yeah.
I think what triggers you or what doesn't trigger you,
Yeah.
it really helps with emotional intimacy as a couple.
Wow. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
basics of being a good partner, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like self-regulating your emotions or like being able to address it is like super important. And even like when it comes to money, I think that emotions like affect my bank account a lot. Yeah.
Speaking from personal
I
experience.
mean
Okay.
like people have like that's why they call it retail therapy, right?
mhm, mhm.
Because how they feel inside might affect how they spend their money lah. Like that instant gratification and all that. And I think that applies to like your relationships as well. Like not your relationship or your relationship, but just relationships in general.
Right.
Like, maybe you had like a bad argument and then like, maybe you feel like, oh, maybe we just need something special to like make us forget about the fight that we just had.
Oh.
Yeah,
Right.
like,
Like
let's go
using
on-
money to like buy gifts or
Yeah.
buying them food or something
Yeah,
to kind of
yeah,
make
yeah.
up for the argument.
Yeah, correct lor. Or like, let's go on a getaway. Maybe it's all these other outside factors that's like making us super stressed and like we can't deal. And then like, okay, let's just have a getaway. Yeah.
Wow.
To serve as a distraction, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say yes though. Like if I had a partner and then we argue and then like, let's have a staycation. I'm just like, so I'm gonna be stuck with you overseas with an unresolved argument.
Staycation, you just said staycation and overseas.
Oh, so sorry. This is
COVID times.
sorry, circuit breaker brain, guys. Sorry, I mean holiday. Then
Yes.
I'm like, why would I want to be stuck with you in a
Yeah.
place where, like, if I storm out, I'll get lost. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense. But I guess it might work for other people.
Or like I've been in situations where like me and like my partner, okay, not my partner right now, but like my partner had to go on a vacation. We already had tickets booked, so we had to, and then I wasn't feeling very happy with him that time lah, like my ex, and then I had to clarify because like I feel like
But
I'm
you
talking about my.
we already said not my current partner.
I'm
This is-
sorry.
It's fine. It's the bad egg. The bad egg.
It's
yes.
like that. Then we already booked the ticket, and then the holiday was supposed to be like the following week, and I was already not feeling like very happy with him lah. But then I had to like I felt like I needed to bottle it up, and to forget about it, because like, you know, we had this vacation coming up, and then if I were to ruin it, it's like, you know, I'm losing money here. Oh my God. I'm losing money here. If I were to
that leap of logic.
it's like $300 or argue or address this situation. I was like, it can wait.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I felt
Yeah.
I've had that before, and it ended up like we ended up arguing during the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't
so-
that horrible? Like, you cannot
But at least the
escape.
first 2 days was fine.
What? Oh, because of the novelty of like where
I'm
you
bottling it.
guys-
I'm
No, I was
suppressing my
I was
emotions.
just the novelty of being in a new place, but sure, the novelty of bottling it up. If that
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, financial spending has definitely affected like how I dealt with my relationship that time.
Yeah. And I think there's also like another dimension to it, like relationships and money. Cause like recently we did was it Instagram Q&A?
Yeah.
So we did Instagram Q&A. We just asked our followers like, oh, you know, what was some like your experiences with toxic or unhealthy relationships and money? And oh my gosh, like we
It's so terrible.
Yeah, we got a lot of stories from different followers, and they were saying like, oh, you know, my ex used to like ask me for money, and it's actually, I don't know, maybe I've been living in a bubble, but like I thought all those stories are very like shocking, because like there's like extortion, like if you don't pay this for me, you don't love me, and it's I know like it's terrible, and yeah, and it really gave me a lot to think about, because like how can somebody do that to another person consciously?
And like put a price on your, like, okay, if you don't give me money, it means that you don't actually care about me.
Yeah.
Which is like so wrong.
Yeah, and I've heard stories like even from friends. They're like, oh, you know, like my ex borrowed like this amount of money. It's like in the thousands, and now that they're my ex, I'm never gonna see the money again. I'm like, I don't like this. Yeah, so it's quite scary, you know.
Yeah. So it also goes back to like how back to the question of how you value money.
Yes.
So how your attitudes toward money, is it a tool that you use for what you need to do, or is it a weapon?
Ooh.
You know,
Ooh.
some people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how you value money and how your family views money at home as well. So how you use that money, is it for something I can use to show off to other people that I've got lots of it, or is it something that I need to save, because you know you need to keep it for a rainy day. So these are the attitudes that, you know, and values that how much you value money, and how you choose to use money, you know, in a relationship. So you can use it, like you said, you can weaponize it by borrowing money and like forget about ever getting it back from each other.
Yeah.
Or or using it as like I'm gonna make you pay for it. You know, like you have to pay me for. I want to show how much you love me by how much money you give me.
Wow.
So these are
Yes.
it's what your attitudes towards how you view money, that kind of affects the relationship. I think these need to really, really be worked out before you get married, not after.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's true.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so how do you value money?
What the? Pointed question. I certainly don't see money as something to be weaponized. I'm very like, you know, like if you don't have, like if I was dating somebody who can't buy me things, like I don't know, flashy things, I'm not even sure what I would want. Like if a partner was like, oh, what do you want? Like I can buy for you like a luxury item. I'm not into that. I'm really more of the spend time with me, let's have a quality conversation once in a while. So I think money in the context of relationships, it's really not that big of a factor, I think. Just don't extort me.
The baseline is just don't blackmail her, don't extort her.
The bar is on the floor, but I feel like this needs to be said. Like, yeah, and I think I would make an effort to be honest about like the state of my finances, I guess. I feel like you shouldn't ever hide your struggles, especially with the person that you want to spend the most time with of all the people in your life.
Sure.
You know,
And being open and honest about it is a very
yeah,
good thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Pris, with like, you know, big things like a wedding, BTO, and everything coming up, how do you like value money?
I think right now the focus would be like on things that last, like my house. So you mean in a relationship or what?
Yalah.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
in the
I mean,
con-
okay, honestly,
yeah.
like you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do a lot of things without money.
It's true.
So in the context of like a relationship, I view money as more like a way for us to like enjoy our relationship.
Means to an end, I guess.
It's like without money, our relationship will be more strained.
Yeah.
Because we will have more stresses to worry about.
Yes.
So to me, like money is something that we can use to just enjoy life, and like to make our relationship easier.
Yeah. It's true.
Cool.
Yeah. There was I think there was a study in the US. I can't remember from where, but I was just reading about it. Where I think they surveyed like 300 over married couples in the US, and the couples that had more financial stresses, like I guess they were struggling with money and stuff. Those respondents said that they don't want to continue the relationship. So I mean, it's natural. Like if there's like financial strain, then oof, you know.
Yeah, it's extra stress on the relationship itself, and then it will bring up a lot of other issues that maybe they haven't gotten to address before.
Yeah, and I think especially because I feel like money is very closely linked to our identities. Maybe for most people. I mean, I'm not gonna generalize, but I feel like this is a common experience that we all have. Like,
I mean, I relate to it.
Yeah, like if I earn less than this person, like I feel smaller than this person. Maybe. Yeah. So I think that's why it gets a bit touchy. Like, that's why money is touchy in general as
a topic.
As a topic. Yeah.
If let's say like me and my partner, for example, let's say I earn more than him, like how do you navigate that kind of like power dynamic if let's say he's not that comfortable with it? Yeah.
I think this is really for the individual couple to work out with among themselves, because this is an issue that if you have a, you know, like if you have a power broker wife and, you know, an individual, the other guy is not making so much money, then what do they feel that goes into the marriage that's important for them? Do you need somebody to look after the children? How do you value that? You know, what do you value in a marriage? And is the money your master, or are you in control of your own money? So I think these are some of the conversations that you really need to work out before, really, because and how, like I said, it's how you value it, and is it a tool that we want to use together? Are you comfortable using it together as a couple? And how do we want to spend it, and what we choose to spend on? And I think these are some of the big things that really need to talk about, you know, as a couple. How you feel towards not having enough of money. For some couples, it's a big issue because that's, like as you mentioned, you know, the lack of it. If you're just making ends meet, you know, hand to mouth kind of situations some couples face, it can be very stressful, because then, you know, every little thing that you spend on not in the relationship becomes like, you know, you're like wasting it or something like that.
Right.
Then it becomes stressful for that couple.
Yeah.
So, but if you are able to work through all these, is what makes the relationship stronger, because you have to know, like, really be clear about, you know, how we choose to resolve issues together, how do you choose to address the different issues that we have as a couple, communicate, you know, what is it that we want out of this relationship, how we want to resolve different problems that we have together. That really makes a difference for couples.
Yeah, but I mean, the first step is always the hardest, and like, I don't know. My feeling is that maybe for some couples, they would prefer to do that, like what you mentioned, Pris, the whole buying things, or like a random, you know, sudden holiday trip to kind of like smooth things over instead of going to the root of the issue. And I think like what's your advice? Because like I think some couples will avoid it until they cannot anymore, and then by then I think it'll be too late, right?
Yeah.
Like then how?
So we're Asian, right? So Asians,
Yes.
Asians sometimes they like to suck it up, as they say.
Yeah.
Right? Run. Right?
Yeah.
How much I can suck it up, how much I can bottle it up.
Yeah.
And then by the time you want to deal with it, it's when you're here and it's going to explode.
Yeah, how can you make rational decisions at that point?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I as a therapist, I always suggest working it out early and not letting it wait until it becomes a bad habit that both of you create. Becomes like an automatic behavior.
Right.
So I cannot solve a problem, I go shopping. And I don't have enough money, I go shopping some more to resolve the fact that I do not have enough money, and I create a bigger debt for myself. And you keep
I feel attacked.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. She needs to hear this.
The truth is hard sometimes.
This is actually an intervention for Pris. Surprise!
To be honest,
Sorry,
like
that's not my intention. I'm just speaking.
I'm kidding.
Joking.
It's jokes. But legit, I think 3 years ago, I really felt like that. Yeah, I was stuck in this cycle of like, I felt like the problem was in my relationship, but like, cause I couldn't find like the courage or the strength to like really address it head on, because I think it's quite scary to just address it like that, because you don't know how your partner will react, and like the uncertainty of the future of your relationship. It really scared me lah. So how I settled it was shop lah. yeah. It's just to like distract myself by shopping lor. Yeah. And then like when my account was like not really great, like and I was like, oh no, I feel bad now. Then I went to shop some more.
with what money after your?
Oh no, I just wait for my next paycheck lah.
I see.
No, but I didn't go into debt. So
Okay, that's good at least. The bar is on the floor, just don't get into debt.
But it's just tending to the little things in your relationship that makes a big difference. And, and you don't want to not tend to it, because then it becomes bigger and bigger. So sometimes it's like a wound that's festering wound that you have, and that the more you don't tend to it, it becomes worse and worse. So sometimes I believe that the best way to do it is to do it kindly and lovingly to each other, but to address it with each other. But the more you don't want to deal with something, the bigger an issue becomes.
Yeah.
And you don't. What you really don't want to do is to let it slide for years and years, and it builds up, and finally explodes.
Yeah.
And then you can't deal with it at that point in time, which is a bit long, and the wound gets bigger and bigger. So the earlier you deal with it, the earlier you intervene and heal it and tend to it, the easier it is for you to resolve the matter. Yeah.
At what point do you think? Trying to save the relationship is like not an option anymore?
Yeah.
Well, I tell young couples that come to see me that I'm glad that they're coming early to see me, because then they're not building up habits for themselves. Like really unhealthy habits that they've created. That what I call like it's kind of like automatic behaviors. Like I call it like you cycle a bicycle? You know how to cycle?
I cycle badly, but I can cycle.
I can't
Okay,
cycle.
you drive? Can you drive?
I do not have a license.
I can't
Sorry,
drive.
it's very useless. We're very useless people.
No. I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, so is this like anything new that you're learning, a new skill that you're learning? It's like a new, like say I'm going to use bicycle as an example.
Yeah.
So you're gonna, when you learn how to cycle a bicycle, right? It's kind of like you're trying to navigate your balance. You're trying to steer properly and trying to cycle at the same time.
Yes.
You want to know how you apply the brakes.
Oh God.
And then you're trying to go in a straight line and not.
I'm having flashbacks.
So as you're doing all this, right, you're navigating like so many different tasks at the same time. But once you are able to do it, it becomes like an automatic behavior. You kind of get used to it. You don't think about how you're cycling. You just cycle. You just get on the bike and you cycle. Once you know how to do it, and you've done it for many times. So like professional cyclists, they don't think about how they cycle. They just think about how they can make it better or they can perform better. So this is kind of like the automatic behaviors that I talk about, that we get used to doing a particular behavior and again. That we don't think about why are we doing something like this. We get caught into these traps of like this automatic behaviors that I like to talk about, that we become so accustomed to doing these things again and again, and no one stopped to say, hey, wait a minute, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this with you? Why do I have to be upset every time you do something like this? Can't we just resolve this? Or can't we work it out? And this is what I mean by, so with a lot of couples that allow the automatics to like fester on for a long time in unhealthy behavior, it becomes like one after another. It becomes harder to kind of work at. So the earlier you work at it, the easier it is. Because then there's less to unpack, and there's less to forgive for, less to heal for.
That's true.
So.
But what about the couple who has gone on for too long, kind of like with all these bad habits, I suppose? All their unhealthy coping mechanisms. Then, I mean, is there ever a point where it's too late and it's time to press the eject button and yeet?
Well, I think with any couple, I mean, so when you take your vows, right?
Yes.
In sickness and health, good times and in bad. So you kind of have to see each other at your worst as well. And if both individuals in the couple decide that they still want to work at it, there is always hope to work at it. So I've seen some really, really hurt couples, but still manage to work through whatever challenges they face, because they both say, we want to deal with this, we want to resolve this, we want to work at this. It comes, I guess the eject comes about when one couple says, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I cannot deal with this anymore. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And sometimes it's just sometimes it's also a mismatch. Sometimes that we fall in love for different reasons. Sometimes parental pressure, sometimes it's peer pressure, sometimes it's a richer husband, things like that, and then you get into that relationship and realize that, this is not what I wanted, this is not who I want to be with. Or rather, maybe the better statement to say is, this is not who I want to be. And I think these are some of the, so knowing who you are and where you stand is very important, because if you don't know that, then you get into a relationship based on false assumptions probably, or even not knowing who you are, and you're not who you are is falling in love with the person who you think you want.
Wow, that's like next level inception.
So I don't know who I am, I don't know who you are.
Wow, don't know who anyone in this room is.
Who are we?
What are we?
So it could happen. I'm not saying and those are very real issues that some couples have to deal with, because when they got into a relationship, based on different starting points, so to say. So it's a very but yes, any couple who decides that they want to work at it, they want to what brought them together in the first place, and decides that yes, we want to work that through, can work it through if they want to.
Okay. Do you have any advice for because money it's pretty hard to talk about, even among friends, not just lovers, I think. Family members also. Do you have any advice on how to facilitate a conversation about money without like you said, be loving, be kind to the other person? So do you have any tips on I don't know, certain phrasings or buzzwords?
I don't know.
Let's align.
It's hard
we
to
need
give
to
me
align
without
our
any context
finances.
of a situation. It's very hard for me to comment about.
Right.
But I think you must know where you stand on the issue of money, and then you can have a conversation with another person.
Yes.
About where they stand on it. But having an open conversation about why you choose to value something in the way which you value it is a good starting point, I think. It doesn't have to be threatening. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be contentious. I think it's just a matter, especially if you're a couple, right, or if you're in a family, that these are simple issues that should be talked about. And the more you talk about it, the better understanding. I think most importantly is trying to understand your partner better, so that you know where each of you stand, and then trying to find middle ground, or trying to find balance in that mini system that you create among yourselves.
Yeah, that's a good point. Kind of approach it from appealing to their understanding.
But I think that's super easy to say, but it's damn hard to do.
It depends on the person lah, right?
If your relationship is like, especially those long-term relationships, I think it's very easy to like have a lot of presumptions and assumptions about the other party.
Yes.
And then there's so much history, so it's very hard to be like, okay, you know what, I'm trying to understand you, when like the past few years you've been doing the same thing. I guess that's what I'm trying to get. So like I think two parties need to work together to really do that.
I think understanding your family of origin, like families which you come from, and how you value, how does your family solve problems together, or not solve problems together, and how your family views something or doesn't view something. I think these are important conversations to have with each other, so you have a better understanding. So sometimes, like if you keep doing something again and again, I think it's just to figure out why you keep doing it again and again, instead of trying to saying why can't you just do something different, or why can't you change, or I think it's really understanding why does a person do something like that. I mean, there must be some reason why the person does that without thinking automatically. You create these behaviors that you don't think about, and you keep doing them, and you wonder why. So sometimes exploring the root cause of it might be more beneficial, and then trying to deal with that root cause instead. So I know it sounds very vague, but it's just so many situations that families and individuals deal with. Maybe it's something that happened to them in college, something that happened to them in school when they were young. Maybe they were bullied. I do not know. There's so many different reasons why, or maybe they felt safe. Sometimes it's about feeling safe about something. If I have enough money in my account, I feel safe. What the safety number is, that's subjective, right?
Yes.
So what is it that I feel safe with, or feel fun, like have fun with? So I remember I can give you an example. I had friends there who used to go to the casino, not here, this is abroad, and he would spend $100-$200 every weekend playing jackpot. Okay, so I told him, I says, why don't you just get him one of these programs, that on computer that you could do. And for him, that just did it for him, because what he enjoyed was the excitement of
pulling the slots,
not just the pressing the button to see the thing happen.
Right.
So that program cost like $30, something like that, and he didn't have to go to the casino after that.
Aiyo.
So it's just dealing with something like that was just for him. That was the thing that helped him. He just enjoyed the excitement of not knowing what's going to be next, and just for him it's just just like people going to the arcade. They say you spend just as much money playing the arcade games, and for him it was just that, just sense of amusement, sense of excitement. So it just did that. So sometimes it's just really getting to the what is it that your root is, the root cause of something that you feel that you think could help you, and to deal with it, and sometimes it's just working it out and working it through with each other.
In terms of how do you even start talking about it though? I can't imagine you've never talked about this, and then you just said, I'm also our finances.
Oh my god, if you start a conversation like that, I'm gonna be so stressed. Let's roleplay now. I'll be your partner. I'll be like, what about my finances? What you want?
Then don't give me the attitude. You always give me the attitude. Then you see, argue already.
Yeah, this is why me and Pris will never be a couple.
So what I suggest is for there's premarital counselling that some agencies and some religious bodies offer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cover everything, but it's a good starting point of topics that you could be discussing as a couple that you might not have considered before. So so that would help in some regard, because like I said, sometimes it's better you talk as much as before you get married and work it through with each other. I'm sure you cannot possibly discuss every single thing, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So premarital counselling is a good idea for couples, because then you talk about issues like, do we want children? Okay, so if we want to have children, then who's going to look after the child? How are we going to manage looking after the child? How do we want to educate the child? How do we want to provide money for the child? Do we want to create generational wealth so that we can pass down some of that to the children? These are different issues that you can talk about and how you perceive it. and like I said, the more you talk about it, the easier it is. So it's not that if you come to a point where you cannot agree, that means it cannot be solved, or rather, then can you also agree to disagree on some issues? I think that's fine. I don't think we can 100% agree on every single thing that, like for instance, like music. You must love this song. It's like, so I mean, like, I'm joking about it, but but you get the idea. You cannot be all or nothing. Sometimes I think part of it is finding that balance for as couples.
So I guess to put it with the song context, it's better to be like, I respect that you like the song, but I don't really like the song. It's better to be that than to be like, oh my god, I love the song.
Like
right?
to lie about it.
Yeah, to
right?
fake that you like the song.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you just be honest. I mean, it's great if you can have more things that you like together as a couple. I think that helps with a relationship. That you have more things that are similar versus not similar. Yeah. But I think differences also are great, because sometimes if everyone was the same, it'd be so boring. Wouldn't it be?
Yeah, you have nothing to talk about. Like,
Yeah.
I like this. Oh yeah, same. Then like, then conversation finished. Oh, you like? I also like that. Okay, let's go for dinner.
Yeah. So sometimes differences and different points of views, and sometimes a different way in which you look at life. Really make a marriage and couple more interesting for each other.
Yeah.
But the idea that you don't have to be everything in everyone.
Yes.
To each other, I think it's something that you need, that couples also need to know. So.
That's true. Circling back to what I mentioned just now about how the Instagram Q&A turned out, do you have any advice for people who are like I don't know how to phrase this, people who are suffering financial abuse,
stuck in a tough spot in their relationship.
And it's not just like a disagreement or sweeping it under the rug, it's outright abuse, Yeah, so how can we deal with that?
And how do they identify that they are in in a relationship like that?
Okay, so sometimes when you are in an abusive relationship, because of it's been like that for a long time, it becomes you automatically accept such behavior. It's not that you want to, but it's slowly, sometimes you give a little bit, then you give a little bit more, and then finally you realize that you're in this situation that you can't believe that you're in, somebody from the outside. So do seek help with people that you can trust. Do speak to someone that you can trust. Do speak to, go get, there are lots of agencies in Singapore that help such people, that you can speak to someone to get help with. I think Aware is one of them. There's some church organizations that also support abuse. Individuals you can come to see a therapist.
Yes.
But the idea is that you find a safe place that you can share with someone details about yourself, that you feel that you will not be harmed by the person who you're sharing it with, the information, and then to find support, especially for women, to find support, emotional support with someone close or someone that you can rely on, that would help you. And I think that's very important, because you can't do it alone. As a couple, to also seek help as a couple, to seek help to try to fix the situation, because it can get worse because you're used to doing such behaviors. But addressing it, being honest about it, being respectful about it, because sometimes nobody wants to do things like this, but it's because of patterns of behavior that they're used to. Maybe they have been abused in the past themselves, and they're used to that kind of environment. So I'm not saying that that it's inappropriate behavior, but it needs to be addressed, and you need to stop the cycle. So it really means getting help, getting the help you need, and seeking support from emotional support, and sometimes even physical support. Sometimes a place where you can stay, or being away from the situation to be safe from.
Yeah, that's true.
So these are all important factors, and I think just seeking help, acknowledging first, I think, that you have a problem. Sometimes if you don't want to, you say, no, I don't see it, I don't see there's anything wrong with me, it's my fault, it's not a problem, then that's also an issue as well. So being safe enough to feel that you can get help, that you need help, and that you would like to get some help, I think those are also important steps for any individual. Yeah, because it's tough. I'm not saying it's an easy situation to be in. Sometimes we don't want to be in such abusive relationships, but if you are, be able to be aware that it is abusive and seek help in finding a new either way out of it or a way in which you can work at it to resolve it. Yeah.
What would you say to like couples who don't believe that counselling will help, or like maybe you can discuss like what counselling actually helps in a relationship, how it actually helps in a relationship? Because like I mean like my partner, he also like we don't need that, we are doing good,
Right.
you know what I mean? Yeah. Or like even like I know some couples who are going through like bad times, but then they're like, never mind, we're strong enough to handle it on our own, like we don't need a stranger to like know about our issues or whatever, you know? Yeah.
So I think for any couple, they need to recognize what the issues are first, and then figure out how would they like to resolve it. So sometimes if they feel that you cannot resolve it together, then do seek some help. Do seek some outside help in getting it resolved. There are many family service organizations around Singapore. There are so many private practitioners out there who specialize. Check them out. Get some referrals to see if they are, if you think they're trustworthy, or they think that you can work with them. I think ultimately a couple has to meet up with a therapist to see if, like, is this therapist the right one for us, that we can work with together. And but I think if you feel that they can resolve it, you acknowledge the issue, and then you can figure out ways in which you can resolve it. It's like any problem solving tool, really. Like, what are the issues and how we'd like to resolve it. And part of that is, deciding how we can work differently with each other, how we can talk differently with each other. So there's a lot, there are multi-layers. The reason why people come to me, because they have, different issues that they need to work with. And sometimes it's not easy just doing it alone by themselves. So sometimes, it helps to talk to someone who's also neutral, who's able to care for the couple, who's create a safe space for them, who helps, who doesn't take sides, who works for both as a couple. You want a couple to be able to succeed, to be able to solve their own problems eventually on their own. And this is what this is why you should get help if you need help, because there are a lot of professionals there who are able to help you, but you need to seek help if you need it. Because if you say that we don't have a problem, then the rest of the conversation is kind of like short, right?
Yeah.
Because if we don't have a problem, then we don't have to address it, then we don't have to work at it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an automatic behavior. It keeps festering, and then I talk about this. But if you can acknowledge it and you realize that this is an issue and we like to resolve it, then it can always be worked out. Yeah. Now, do realize the thing that couples also need to can learn is that if you're upset and your partner's upset, you don't have to argue it out right there and then. You can actually pause for a while, take a break, when both of you are calm again, and you can readdress it when both of you are calm, in a calm manner.
You're in the same house, you're like, okay, pause.
Okay. I go study room, you go kitchen. See you in the living room in 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's good, eh?
Yeah.
No, there's actually some things that I tell some couples to do, to take a break from each other for a while till they calm down and they can redress it again, because no one says that you have to work out all your problems right away in that moment. Immediately
at once.
Now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some things take time, so it's okay not to be able to resolve everything all at once.
So thanks for coming down to give us all this very good advice on how to navigate relationships, and also when it comes to money as well. Yeah, it's a difficult topic, but I think like what you said, you just have to take that first step to realize that you are having a problem, and then you need to seek help. Yeah, if not, if you think, like you said, if you think you don't have a problem, then there's no point in
even talking
about it. Even starting a conversation about it. Yeah, so thank you.
Well,
thank you, Brian.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll try to convince my partner to go to premarital counselling again. Hopefully, Please.
You
Please
make
hope
him
that it
listen to
works.
this. Listen to this episode.
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. But it's fine. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay. That's a wrap on another episode of Keep It Simple. Leave us a review on any of our platforms and remember to subscribe to us for more episodes.
So stay tuned and see you next time. Until then,
Keep
keep
it
it simple.